Let's find the volume of rectangular pyramids. And just remember that the fact that this is a rectangular pyramid, that tells us the shape of the base. So we are now saying we have a base of a rectangle, and then each side will meet at the apex. But the key is, tells us the shape of the base. So the rectangular pyramid means the base is a rectangle. So if we're going to find the volume of a rectangular pyramid, we're going to use the formula V equals 1/3 length times width times the height. Now, what does this mean? The fact that it's 1/3 is because we are meeting at an apex. So if you think about a rectangular prism, that's horribly drawn, but a rectangular prism is basically two bases that are both rectangles, and it goes straight. Think like a tissue box, right? A tissue box is generally a rectangular pyramid. Not always, but generally. And if we would take that and squish it and make it a pyramid, the volume would be 1/3. So we'd be able to fit 1/3 as many tissues in that tissue box if we made it from a prism to a pyramid. So think about what this formula tells us. Length times width is the area of the base, right? Height, the height of this is found from it goes to the apex, and then it drops down to the base and makes a right angle. So think about starting at that tip top, that apex, and it's a line that goes straight down and hits the middle of the base. That is the height. So it forms a right angle, right? It's perpendicular to the base. So we take the length times width times the height, which is actually the volume of a prism, and then we multiply by 1/3, or you could say length times width times height divided by 3. Those are equivalent formulas for the formula for a pyramid, well, rectangular pyramid. Okay. So, find the volume of the following pyramid. Now, we see here a rectangular pyramid with a base 8 feet by 6 feet, and we notice that the height from the apex to the base, making a right angle, is 14 feet. So when we think about the volume of a pyramid, again, the formula, volume is 1/3 area of the base, in this case, length times width, and then times the height of the pyramid. If you think of it that way, 1/3 times the area of the base times the height of the pyramid, that right there is the idea of volume of a pyramid. So let's plug in what we know. The volume is 1/3, length is 8 feet, width is 6 feet, height is 14. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the 8 times 6 times 14 piece. So when I multiply 8 times 6 times 14, I get 672. Now remember, multiplication is commutative, meaning you can do it in any order you want. It doesn't matter. That's why I multiplied my 3 whole numbers together. And now I'm going to use the idea. If I have 1/3 times 672, that's the same as 672 over 3. And I know that because, let me just go over here, 1/3, if I make 672 a fraction by putting it over 1 and then multiply across, I get 672 over 3. That's why this works. Okay, so now I take my calculator, I take 672 and I divide it by 3, and my volume is 224 cubic feet. Volume is in cubic units. Let's do another one. So now this is actually a square pyramid because squares are rectangles. All right, so again, we're dealing with the formula. Volume equals 1/3 area of the base, so 7 times 7 times the height of the pyramid. And I want to do this one just slightly different. So maybe you don't have a calculator with you and you're looking at this. And we know that we can multiply these 4 numbers, right? 1/3 times 7 times 7 times 12 in any order. Well, if I would do 1/3 times 12 and then 7 times 7, 1/3 times 12, think about this. If I put 12 over 1, 3 goes into 3 one time and 3 goes into 12 4 times. So 1/3 of 12 is 4. So I really just have 4 times 7 times 7. Right, so I can simplify first. And when I do that, 4 times 7 is 28. 28 times 7 is 196 cubic inches. Okay, now that's fun, right? Those are basic pyramids. But let's talk about a real pyramid. right? The Great Pyramid at Giza. It's a square pyramid with sides of 756.4 feet. It is a square pyramid, so each side is that, and the height is 481.4 feet. What is the volume of this pyramid? Now, to give you a scope of this, right? Volume is in cubic feet, meaning it's a cube, right? So think about, a cube, like an ice cube. That's a square, but it's a foot on each side. So I oftentimes will think about like a little ottoman, or actually I have a thing in my closet that has, it's like a 9 square cube thing. These are everywhere. A lot of people have these, and you can put like bins in them. One of those bins is approximately a foot on each side. So think about, that's how many, right? When we find the volume, we can put that many of these boxes inside the pyramid. That's the idea of volume. We're filling it up with these cubes that are this size. Okay, so let's look at the formula. Volume equals 1/3 length times width times the height. Let's plug in our numbers. 1/3 times 756.4 times 756.4 times 481.4. Remember, each side is 756.4, so I need that twice. And when I multiply, okay, so I multiply these three together, and then I hit divide by 3 for my 1/3. When I do that, my volume is 91,809,552.71 cubic feet. So let's just look at the number here. 91,809,552. So if you would take one of those cubes, that's a foot on each side, you need almost 92 million of them to fill up the Great Pyramid at Giza. That's how big this thing is. That's huge. And that's volume of rectangular pyramids.